All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Leading Crypto. We're here bringing it to you live on a beautiful Monday morning here in, Florida and Kansas City. It's probably like end of the day or almost Tuesday over there in Dubai, where Burr Milk is coming to you from right there. And we're going to take a look at essentially everything we've been covering in the recent weeks. Last week was obviously a major mover across the board for many reasons, a multitude. And we're just going to take a look and see how, what the damage is looking like now as the dust is slightly settling here and there. We did have a pretty decent move overnight as the markets kind of reopened a little slower into the week as the weekend kind of progressed. But we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, S&P 500, Ethereum. Crypto.com seems to be, one that many are asking us about. So we'll take a look at that as well. A couple of levels that, Magic had put up quite some time ago have been met. If you're following him on Twitter, if you're not following him on Twitter, be sure you do. He puts up some pretty decent sauce on there as well. So if you guys are interested in the content that we provide daily, we do this every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it here. Throw in some order flow and open interest your way as well. So number one question's got to be going to my man Max. He is looking whiter than white today. We don't know what the condition is over there in Dubai, but the sun must be glaring through the window. How are you guys doing today?
Days. I'm not seen sun in days. It's the brightness on these screens. It's making me super white.
You got the white screen going. Perfect.
You know what you need to do is go get some of that bronzer. Just rub it in.
Yeah.
That would look good on you.
I can imagine.
I'm liking the name Burr Milk. I think that one's going to have to stick.
Oh God, Steve, yeah.
Awesome. Magic, how you doing today, man? I'm liking the blue and the I think it's blue, at least blue and orange background there. The crossbreed. It looks nice.
Yeah. So this is what when I was making like the background for when I would go live and stuff. Orange, blue, obviously my favorite colors if you know anything about me. So it's just one of those
ones
things
we can see.
I heard you said you couldn't tell the difference.
Between
orange and blue. That's the only ones.
Dude, I'm red green colorblind. There's you really need to just do a quick Google search on what that is. So
it's in the words.
Anyways, let's hop into the charts. We'll talk about Bitcoin here. Pretty simple stuff, guys. Not much has changed necessarily over the weekend. You did have a pretty interesting setup. So we were essentially waiting for about 15,866 or 17,555. Also, you can see you've got your weekly pivots coming in here, right? So both Bybit and China. Statistical targets. So we know those are met over 70% of the time. So just something that you always have to be aware of. And we talked about this last night so that anyone was in the live stream, we said, if we're looking for shorts, where are we looking to take shorts at? We're looking up in this region. We're not looking to be short coming into support, right? That's just a bad idea all around. And what I had shown them beforehand was what you really wanted to do was mark off the local lows here. I'm going to change that to white and just kind of play it like so, and just add a couple extra lines to your chart. And what this will give you now is a little bit of invalidation. So you can see that you've come down, tapped the daily, reclaimed it. Where do you go? The next low and the previous day low, back down to the daily resistance. And once it pops above, this is your moment to know that, okay, we're challenging the previous day low. If we were to hold that as support, I would expect us to complete the Dalton, which was in play from last night, which is just a prior session setup for NPOCs and rotations. And the previous day range is now being respected fairly well. So what you don't want to see is a move back below these levels on anything other than like a swing failure pattern. So if we do get a move back to the low of the range, we're not going to get the shorts we want from up here potentially. And I think this was just a local gold pocket. Yeah, right there. You didn't quite tap it. So I'm still expecting another move up into this region. Big level for me is going to be 16,800. You really got to be hanging on to that, which is also your previous day value area high. So if you see a move back above that, I think that'll be what you're getting to get this move up into this region. Hit that daily and those weekly pivots there. So that's all I'd be looking for. So if I was in this market and I was like, oh man, I really want to be in a short, I'm not comfortable being long, I would be patient, wait for the high of the range. Don't be shorting the low of the range. It's just, even in a bear market, shorting the bottom of the range will get you stopped out or wrecked quite a bit. So Pretty simple there. DXY coming into support. So this is something I outlined last week on Twitter as well. Was looking at this as a pretty significant low right here, which was taken back into our target right here for rejection. And then I didn't think it was going to nuke quite like this, but this is an area that I've said is on my chart, 105.67.4. So that is still the area of interest for me. And that should correlate with the SPX here. So you'll see the SPX now coming above its trend. Now it can get out of this trend quite a bit and come right back to it, as you can see, because this is just a tool that's designed to get price action inside of a trend and kind of like show you where the trend is getting overextended and where it's extended to the downside. So it's letting you know right here, this is probably not the safest area to be going long, but you do have some obvious targets coming in. We talked about this last night as well, so I'll kind of roll through it fairly quickly. That if you were just to take a look, you've got a Q3 in POC up here, and this is your developing year range. So you are back inside the range. One would think you're coming into this area more than likely. You can see I've got it marked off as a zone right now. So if we see this move, this is a pretty big inflection point for price. Main reason being is if we go to the weekly time frame now, and let me get rid of this because that's going to look pretty bad when I go to the weekly. And we come over to the fund folder per the usual. There is your setup, right? This was a setup we called out in advance, actually, before this low was actually made. We were watching for this, and then the reclaim basically of the 2021 low was your kind of like moment where you knew that this was going to make at least some kind of a push. How high was the question? I think 39.23 was a pretty good indicator that once above that, we should be looking up. But this is how you set it up. You have an X and a B pivot here, showing you that this is where your range was established. This is where support was established for this distribution top into these lows. So a back test of that is what? Just a support resistance back test until broken, right? Maybe it gets through it and we see further upside. We do have significant fib time coming in for this. I worked out fib time on this chart a while back. You can see that this is your first pivot right here at the C leg, right here, the .25. Our 382 caught the major high last time. And so in a couple weeks here, we have another one coming in. So we'll see if that bears any fruit for us. Let's put it that way. And I think that is it. Let me see if there's any questions. Nope. So I'll turn it over to Maxwell and let him kind of dive into the order flow and open interest.
Okay, so today it's been interesting. The day started off, trading perfectly. So as soon as the session opened, you went straight into, as soon as the session opened, you could have identified straight away that you had a Dalton available. As I've said many times as of late, you normally come up, so that this was the opening candle, came up instantly rejected from the previous day val. It's happened countless times as of late. It's always, if you're above the previous day value area high, you come back down, test the value area high, and off you go on the opposing side for the val as today. Then you've come down, you've tapped the daily, which we had down here, which was naked. You've then, the best entry was the SFP right at the low. You didn't really get the order flow pairing up with it, but the fact that you were where you were in the position where you are with that daily, that is the best entry that you could want to take that trade. It was really nice. And then you kind of sat in it, and then until the short squeeze got initiated. And it was a short squeeze because they had a huge decrease in open interest in the rise. So that's not buyers entering the market. That's shorts closing out, forcing price up with all these buying imbalances. You can see them here. Then what you need for price to hold this rise, because a lot of the times if you get a huge short squeeze or a huge rise and decrease in open interest, without the party to keep coming in to keep it going, so in this instance you needed the buyers to join the party, we would have crashed. And as you can see, some buyers did come in. You got some positive delta here. Granted, it wasn't on stagnant open interest, to be fair, but as price rised, so did open interest. So there's your buyers entering. Granted, they tried to push it down. You've got a lot of open interest increasing here on negative delta, but ultimately they failed, and fueled to the upside as the climb continued. And then where did we come down to? Well, we came down to this section after, all this day's ranging. And it was quite frustrating, to be fair. We were on a live trading session as we got this move. There was no way to enter this trade. It was kind of not out of the blue, but it was just taking all the shorts from this trade. So there's no way you could have caught this long, really looking at the order flow. But, you've identified, okay, another decrease in open interest. How could you have gotten to a short? I was actually waiting for the previous week point of control to be tapped, but we discussed this morning in the member stream. We went over all the types of SFPs and why they're the best trader. Then one literally presents itself on stream, and I've been patient waiting for the previous week point of control, and it bit me on the ass. So you right at the top here, you got your stagnated open interest, positive delta. Granted, it wasn't too much, so it wasn't like a blatantly obvious trade, but it was a SFP on a low time frame, and it played out perfectly. Then you got a huge decrease in open interest, huge volume spike. I would argue from where we are right now, there's been really no reason to long, unless you've got, a huge pair and are happy to take a long from the VWAP, or this SFP, which is front running the weekly open, the daily open. Well, I guess it's from the previous day val, but I've not seen a reason here to take a long. I'm waiting for the daily open because the golden pocket from the low is here. If we can take the golden pocket from the low, it's also the London low just above here, which will be taken. That will be the confirmation for me if we go to this chart, I believe. Yeah, so the London low is here, which we've yet to take. So that'll be my confirmation for the trade. Come down, tap the golden pocket, and as we get above that, that's confirmation to enter the trade. So that's New York swinging the London lows as we swept the London highs. So that's the kind of trade that I'm looking for right now. But we'll have to wait to see how Magic's rise, which he has predicted, comes into play, like what order flow we get there to see, whether you can get in along the way or, maybe preempt a short before we get to these regions, because I am also looking for that golden pocket still. Even though we've rejected here, it does kind of make it a bit weaker than going up to the weekly pivot. I do quite like, I can make this a bit bigger actually. I do quite like the fact that this is here, golden pocket on the weekly naked pivot. Has to be, you have to be aware of that. And again, you could use your confirmation as that high to enter that trade. So they're the two trades that I'm kind of looking for right now. And going to wait to see the open interest and the order flow and we get that. But right now, with this that we've just had, it's pretty much washed both sides of the market out. You've had huge decreases in shorts from today's range. You've had huge decrease in longs. So there's really nothing that I can mention right now. Just the fact that this to me hasn't given me an entry. So I am still expecting that we possibly come down and tap that daily open. And then hopefully get some more buys come in and some more volume come back into the chart. Because as you can see here, as we've had that big move down, you've had huge volume come in, and then it's just absolutely dropped off. The delta is, completely flat. There's no one way or the other. You can't really call it. They're literally just flat. They're so pale, and so is the volume. It's really not giving you anything to trade off. So have to wait for more data. But it's been a very interesting day to trade. It's been good. So yeah, that's all I've got. Sorry, I've not really got much else to go off. The TPO is pretty, standard. You've not got a buying tail, so you have to be aware of that. We've also not got a selling tail, so that's another thing. But other than that, it's a very, you could argue, a very balanced day. You do have this down here, this volume shape down here, but ultimately it's all flat where we are. So there's really, you could go either way here. But I'm going to go with Magic and try and get into the long to go in what he says, but I will be looking to enter down here because I don't really have an entry anywhere else. So trade my plan, but I'll try and configure it into Magic's, I guess. But yeah, that's all I've got.
Never fade Magic's alerts, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
All right. I just want to cover Ethereum and crypto.com today, right? So we had a pretty extensive members only market update last night. So in the Leading Crypto Discord server, every Sunday night, right after the weekly close, we hold a members only market update where we go into even more detail with quite a substantial amount of altcoins, obviously Bitcoin and the rest of the market as a whole. So just kind of wanted to showcase how, last night we were looking at this, right? We were coming right into the local golden pocket just from our 1070 low up to your 1351 high. Nothing really crazy there, but we're coming into this region, and then from here, what did we have that we were looking for? So a couple of things, just a really clean look. We had our daily open, obviously back at 1220, which was a major resistance because this is also our quarterly POC that we've been looking at for quite some time. We had our untapped at the time. It's tapped now, but I'll fast forward this once again. This is I chopped this as a replay, so this is from last night at like 10 or 11 at night Eastern. But you had the untapped daily, which is a pretty high statistical target that you meet that within the week or within a couple of days. And then you got the weekly up here, which is generally hit within the week as well. So obviously we ran through and generally hit both of those pretty nicely off that golden pocket bounce. You had a real perfect entry here. If you caught it, this really almost would have been you would have had preset almost for this unless you were really watching. This is a 15-minute time frame. So aside from that one, you did get a couple of back tests on the 618. Didn't really push through to the edge of the golden pocket another time. But here you got the reclaim of the VWAP right from there. You could have took it up to the daily open as a TP1. You also got your daily key level came into play. So that was another major target. And then, of course, you got the untapped weekly. Zooming in a little bit now to where we're at here. Did front run this a bit too, just to kind of be fair. I was just looking at Magic or Max, whoever just had a Bitcoin. It looked like it front ran something as well there. But we were looking at 1300 and this was 1298. So for all intensive purposes, sometimes you really do want to, kind of put some of these targets a couple dollars or a couple, not a percent by any means, but you really kind of want to front run some of these areas because this happens more times than not. That would have been a really big miss, right? If you were just dead set on catching it right to 1300, you would have then ate a 5% pullback pretty quickly. Here we got the daily key level now aligning with the current daily VWAP. Another thing to kind of take note of is we've got previous day data, right? So now looking at this, we are essentially coming down. We're really hitting, bouncing around towards the previous day value rate high. We re-entered this, closed a couple of candles within, but we're really, dilly-dallying around the area here. So if you do find acceptance back into this range, obviously your target is going to come down once again to our volume target. Let me get some of these out of here real quick. All right. You got the volume target coming in here. Also aligns well with your daily key level VWAP as well. So this is a major target here to the downside. Front ran that as well, right on the way down here. So you kind of like just kind of alluding to the idea that you're wrecking, both sides here, or you're also knocking everybody out of taking profit if they're like holding true to hitting certain levels specifically, right? So you got kind of everybody on the fence at the moment. So here, if you hold the value very high, it's possible to run it back here. Really want to see this 1248 basically lost and not reclaimed necessarily, but back tested. And then we got the run down here. Major area to be concerned with if you lose the point of control, which is about 1228, which once again, this 1220 region, I'll zoom it out to that major, the overall range we've been looking at, which you should know at this point, it's 1221, right? It's that quarterly POC that we've been on about for quite a while. So currently that's in the mix here too. So major support in that region / resistance if we get back below it again. But in a short-term move here, it does look like we probably will come back in, and if you get the back test back in here at 1248, do something like this. Right, come back in, get that downfall. You got a major target right here at 1229, lose that. And then this region is a really big one because this is now a full rotation of yesterday's range. Once again, you'd be coming back down and testing the daily open. And then if you also were to throw on a local golden pocket now from low to high, golden pocket comes in right at the previous day val as well. So just some short-term, opportunities at hand today as we come into it. So zooming that out a little bit for the macro, right? We are back above that Q2 point of control, right? As far as like closing candles and things of that nature go, right? So you did deviate it here, bounce above. You can see how we're really spending a lot of time in this region. So losing this level conclusively, right? Start closing dailies. We really have only closed one daily below, causing this new untapped daily. I didn't even mark it because it's just so close to the other. It doesn't necessarily matter. But yeah, I mean, losing this region, still looking down to this untapped daily at 1,031, give or take. You got the range low there. Otherwise, as far as any more continued upside, right? If you're just diddling in the middle, you'd really want to see this region claimed for any more continuation. And that is the quarterly key level, EQ of the range, golden pocket. You know, the list kind of goes on there. So, which are at major support at the moment. Like I said, I was going over those short-term moves, you know, just kind of intraday ideas and opportunities and things. Like if you see the, you know, price moving a certain way and kind of just whipsaws all afternoon, it's kind of the, you know, the direction and the reason behind it. Otherwise, yeah, still same levels, man, here for ETH. You know, I'm still waiting on this daily. Don't know if we'll get it. And aside from that, you know, pretty simple stuff for Ethereum. I mean, we're literally just rooting around in the same region we've been in for a little bit here. So for as far as mid to long-term plays, you know, you're still just kind of in that same window. Just want to take a look at crypto.com. So, you know, last week was, you know, and I want to point this out once again, right? If you kind of think about the last several weeks, you know, we bring this up. XRP is a really good example all the time. And I hammer on it all the time because in the 2018, 2019 bear market, I kick myself for not selling the rips and, you know, buying the dips or whatever, right? So I just held the whole time. Every time it had a huge move, you know, it was like 15 cents to 30 cents. It was the range we were just pretty much bouncing around in for like a year and a half, maybe even 2 years. 100% move up, 50% move down, 100% move up, 50% move down. And I just held it every single time, right? And looking back, you know, you could have at least increased your holdings or whatever the case may have been. And I bring that up because there's been so many times now in the last few weeks, Matic, Quant, Doge was a hot one for me. We call them flavor of the week, right? Because these projects, coins, whatever, like, you know, they catch these nice rallies, and then everyone that's been holding, you know, just gets really excited because there's always some really good news based around it at the same time. So that kind of keeps everybody holding on to that idea. And even if you know, we're down from, you know, major highs, which most probably are, it makes it really tough to, you know, end up, you know, selling out at certain areas and trying to, you know, capitalize on a pullback or things of that nature. So this week is Crow, right? So last week was FTT. Like I said, we had Doge the week before that. You had Quant and Matic for quite a while. Quant and Matic kind of still, you know, talked about pretty heavily, but crypto.com, really technical here too. And this is a really, really like almost stupid simple chart. Just basically a few horizontals and a couple of ranges pulled here. I'm trying to load this up. I don't know why it's either way. Okay. Magic actually has a really nice chart on Crow, you know, as well. And once again, just super simple. And you just kind of have to be patient with it, but also have a plan in place, right? So we talk about this all the time right here, right? You got your range low comes in, your overall val, you know, set alerts on these, because if you start to lose these regions, just the same as the range high, right? You break the range high, get back test, off you go, break that range low, get the back test, you know, it's going lower, right? So it's exactly what we had here. Major range break here, came up, got the back test perfectly. And then from there, it's level to level, right? So one area we were looking at here was this monthly below. I'm going to try to get this off. There we go. All right. Got this monthly below right here at 5.5 cents, almost 6 cents, I suppose. Got a pretty nice little bounce from there. Once again, Magic on Twitter last night was looking at it. It was one of those nice little boops. Not necessarily something to get into at the moment, but it was, you know, it did offer up a pretty nice little bounce, right? From that level, it was like a 30% bounce, which is pretty nice. But once again, you'd have to have a plan in place here, because knowing that we are not in good shape right here, you know, that's all it is. That's all it was, right? This is just an oversold bounce, support bounce, however you want to look at it. Came down, tagged it, ran it up, right? In the short term here, if we lose this monthly level here, I'm looking down to this 6 month, right? And there's a reason for that more than anything. And one of those being that A, the 6 months on tap, but B, if you take the actual overall price action of Crow, so the global range here, all the information that's at least on OKX or whatever exchange you're going to look at, you've got an overall point of control that comes in right there at that 6 month as well. And if you looked at this as an overall range, is also, right, what do we know about the ranges? Once you re-enter the range, What's your natural target? It's going to be your volume target. So if you looked at this, broke out the range, deviated, came back in, back test, and where we're heading, right? Your volume target is your major target. So something to be aware of there. From where we are right now, that's a pretty substantial drop. If had, doesn't have to happen right this moment by any means. We could very well see move back towards the value area low. And the reason I bring that up is because now, if you take that, and once again, little local golden pocket idea, you can see how the golden pocket aligns well with the overall val, right? So doing something like this and still coming all the way down here in a couple of weeks or months, is very well on the table. As far as any kind of upside, progress, you'd really want to see this region reclaim. So basically come up and take 10 cents and hold that on, some pretty substantial closures for the move back up. And from where we are now, like I said, I mean, that's like a 40-50% push just to get nowhere. So you'd really want to have some plans in place here. So just really want to touch on that. Super technical. Don't even know what's really going on with the exchange. I guess all the exchanges are getting, harassed, or people are asking for proof of funds and this and that. And if you can't put it out there, everybody's really panicking. The panic right now in the market is definitely top tier that I've ever seen. I mean, it's been there before, obviously, with the Rona dump. Obviously we had the world issues earlier this year. This is probably the worst one, though, because this is basically, everyone in the crypto space is just truly scared and paranoid that their money's going to, get yanked, and, similar to FTX. And that's just, if you're going to rinse out 20,000 cryptos, I guess start shutting down the exchanges is the way it'll go. But we'll see how that unfolds. Either way, crypto.com. Pretty technical here. So that's really all I wanted to cover today. We just really want to kind of take a look at take a look at crypto.com, kind of see how the week kind of transpires here. Once again, we had a really nice elongated update last night in the members only market update section. So for anybody that's interested in joining that, our link is in the description box below. We do offer a general chat area too, if you want to have any requests for seeing something on the public stream. If you got any questions or things of that nature, feel free to add that in the Discord as well.
We got one left to go over, Matic. If you want to go over it, you can. Otherwise, I can. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can go over Matic. Your chart's, I like your chart. It's
pretty simple. It's a simple chart. I'm not doing anything too crazy with it. We're not getting into the ranges, things like that. Yeah. So with Matic, I gave this level as support right here. You can see we've come back to it. Really nice bounce. You really haven't done anything since. Could Matic try to make another high here? It absolutely could. But for me, this was the bounce play you wanted to play. It was, I don't know what the percentage on it was. I know it was over 20 when you look at it. So just from the low to there, 52%, So that would have been the play there. Now you've got basically support here at 77.81 and 79.83 cents that you're going to be playing off of. So if you start taking a look here on the weekly, you do have an untapped weekly. So if we were to be getting any further upside, 113.48 has to be claimed. But realistically, early signs would just be living back above these local highs here. This was like a little box I gave right here on the way down, where this was going to be like a speed bump on your way to these targets. So unless you're getting back above this, which was kind of your breakout level, I think a lot of people are looking at this as a double bottom, even though it's not. It's definitely more of an ABCD right here like this. So the technical target on an AB equals CD is usually a gold pocket, which I think we almost fulfilled. So I would still be looking for this to probably make another low. I did not buy any Matic here. All my Matic was accumulated in the daily demand 2 zone that I gave from right here. This was the box essentially. And how I came up with that is right there. That's where I was buying my Matic. This is where I was selling my Matic. Very, very simple chart. And if we go out to here and turn on like our channel, you can even go to log scale on this one. And if you go to log, it's actually much, much cleaner, where you can start to see this thing coming up into this zone that was identified through Fibonacci work, essentially, a lot of convergence there. And you would just be looking at this as, okay, well, the trend is down technically. This is a downtrend, right? Because if you confirm this high right here, which would be taking out this, in my opinion, taking out these lows essentially, then yeah, you're probably going to be looking back down into this like 48 cent zone. more than likely. I would say that would be the target for it. So you've got a little range right here going on, but the moment you start giving up these lows right around 69 to 77 cents, this right here, you've confirmed the top, and then you've got just simply put, you could get out the polyline tool. You could go, this is my high, low. I just confirmed another high. Where do we normally go inside of a trend? Well, it either needs to make a higher low or it's going to make a lower low, which, you know, if the rest of the market is taking that tumble, if this isn't the bottom, then you should be looking at this as the trend could continue this low, and you have to be prepared for those targets. Doesn't mean you can't, you know, buy into this if you're confident in it. A lot of people really like Matic, including myself. It's one of the few I was picking up back in May and June. So, you know, again, this is going to come down to patience for a lot of people, I think. And even if this pushes above this level, you've still got a really big resistance coming in right here. You know, from just a fib standpoint, this is going to be, you know, like your one-to-ones coming in here. You've got the 382 coming in there, you know, from your overall macro range, right? So maybe if I can find where I put all these, well, I got to organize a little bit. There you go. Your 382. And if you go to log, it's your gold pocket. So, I mean, it's pretty fitting. So this is one of those things where if you don't hold this gold pocket on a back test after the monthly right here, yeah, I'm probably looking for this to come down and challenge these lows again. And then we get to play the game of bounce or not yet again. So that's how I'm looking at Matic. I'm just staying really, really patient on it. I'm not day trading it necessarily right now. I'm not really day trading a lot of anything. I'm in swing shorts on 9 different assets from higher up. So those are what I'm holding on to. And even the capital that I have set aside for day trading is in a 1x short right now. And it's in profit, not that it's really making me any money, but you know, I'm waiting for kind of a clear break or a significant bottom to be put in for me to start getting more involved in these markets. And if that's the case, then you guys know how I'll start loading capital back on exchanges and I'll start trading more. So that's really all I've got on that. Pretty simple. Hopefully that was helpful, whoever asked for that.
Sorry, I was muted. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, you know, we really want to keep it short and sweet for everybody today. So, you know, we had a pretty adventurous week last week. So let's see how things kind of progress as we continue here. As we said, come through. We do these live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. You know, we're always going to be covering the S&P, DXY, Bitcoin, and ETH. And then we tend to sprinkle in a couple of other, you know, major alts, flavor of the week. Like I said, in the Discord server for Leading Crypto, which you can find the link down below if you'd like to come in and make requests. We honor those pretty well. As also, be sure to follow us on Twitter. Also, if you're interested in that too. So, yeah, I think that's about all we got. So if you guys don't have anything to add, Max, Magic, I think we're all set. So everybody have a nice remainder of your Monday here. Let's have a nice week, and we'll see you all in the next video.